back to Pop Culture Theory. I am Saccora, and we are here live today. We are going to check out the brand new Masters 25 set from Magic the Gathering. And I'm just freshly back from returning from that GAMA Trade Show. We did a bunch of live videos there, and I want to take the next couple days to tell you guys all about what I learned. And I figured, what better way to talk about what I learned from Wizards of the Coast than to open up their newest product. Let's talk a little bit about it. I know there's been some controversy. We're going to talk about where I am on it. I would love to hear where you all are on it. And we're going to talk about what I learned from Wizards of the Coast while I was at GAMA. All right? Now, got our Masters 25. I'll go ahead and start open. Retailing standpoint, this is now a square. Other people pointed this out. It is not like the iconic Masters that had the odd slope. These can be stacked. That's kind of cool. It means they had to use a little bit more production material, which is something you'll see me talk about in some other videos, that I think people need to cut down on production material and use less material to do the minimum material needed for boxes. But I don't mind having a little extra cardboard if it means that these can be stacked at retailers. So this Masters 25, and I just want to get the elephant out of the room right away. I know that there are a lot of people that are upset with this set for a couple of reasons. Some people thought that the value per card in this set was not good enough, or the value per box. Other people are upset because there might be some mapping issues, specifically some people calling it out for boxes being the same. I'm going to see how this looks. I have my box. We're going to check this. I am interested to hear more on the mapping things. I'm not going to talk about that today. That's not why we're here. I'm not quite convinced that that's an issue. Even the players at my local store I was talking to when I was grabbing these today mentioning things like they don't mind, because that means that if they, assuming it is a thing, if they get one good box, you can assume another really good box is in the store and you can go buy in for it. And there's some logic to it. I've seen the same thing happen with sports cards before. It can be a bad thing, it can be a good thing, but it's not really what my focus is today. So we do have Masters 25. This includes 24 Masters 25 packs. They are roughly $10 MSRP right now. The boxes are going between like $200 and $220. You might be able to get some deals under $200 this opening week. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side here. We'll set this to the side. I want to address, I have mentioned this in a previous video, but there are some people really upset with the EV value of this box, or the expected value you're going to pull in singles out of the box. And I struggle with that, because people complaining, for instance, one of the other big issues, let's just talk about it, is Tree of Redemption. It's a mythic rare in this. It's worth like $1. Some stores are doing no tree guarantee policies that they will give you another pack if you pull Tree of Redemption in your pack. And I think it's all BS. And what I mean is, I think that people being upset by there being a mythic that is less valued or is undervalued compared to the box price or the pack price is not a good complaint. I feel like these people aren't used to collectibles. I ranted about this in my game video the other day. I was sitting there playing, talking about collectible investments, and something I think everybody needs to understand is that you don't always get the value of your pack. You are taking a gamble if you're buying by the pack. That's why there's a lot of videos out there that'll tell you don't buy by the box, go buy it by the single if you want to play, buy it by the box if you want to collect, and you have that gamble chance. If you guys aren't familiar with the sports card market, in the sports card market, people buy $300 boxes that have one pack inside of them. And in that one pack, you could get something worth $10, or you could get something worth $6,000. And the gaming market is nowhere as radical as that, and you have a lot of good cards in here still. So I just want to nip that in the bud before we go opening this. I'm already about 4 minutes in, so let's get right to it. Let me tell you guys a little about what I learned from Wizards of the Coast while I was there. Now, we're also going to chat right away. They nipped in the bud some stuff about, like, prices. They're not going to chat about prices with retailers. That's price fixing. I do wish that they would go to a minimum advertised price, and they didn't mention anything like that, because that would possibly help some of the advertising online. But they don't talk about prices with retailers. If you guys see retailers doing prices at different amounts than other retailers, that's them choosing to undercut the market. Maybe they have something going on with their distributor. It's not worked out with Wizards. And that's the first thing they always nip in the bud, so I figured I would nip it in the bud too. Oh, Haunted Fangraph? Okay, so we got Undead Gladiator, Stamped Driver, Pyroclasm, Achroma's Vengeance, and Harrowsphere Crab. Okay. Let me scoot these over so you guys can get all of them on screen here. So, there was some stuff I did learn from Wizards. I got to learn about some of their new initiatives. I sat in on some meetings with other retailers where we all kind of talked about stuff going on in the business. Um, there's some cool stuff going on. I'll lay my tokens there. And they have some cool products coming out this year. I'm excited to see. So we're seeing the end of the dual decks. They're going to be replaced by some other stuff. The dual decks, they couldn't show us some of the pieces on the front, but there was some cool stuff about that they did show us, and I was quite excited to learn about some of the new products, including the From the Vault that we saw was the last From the Vault, if you didn't know. Instead, we will be getting these like spell series, I believe is what they call them. So we're going to start with a Jace spell series pack that will have, I believe, a Jace in it, and then specifically some cards that are like classic spells that go with Jace in the story. Lore Scale Codal, Fortune Thief, and Uncaged Fury. Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll do the next pack here. So you guys can expect some new product from Wizards. I actually liked a lot of what I saw. There's a few of the things they asked us not to talk to you guys about, but I can tell you most everything that we saw there. Including, I just want to quickly get out of Magic the Gathering. One of the coolest things I saw there is they are starting a card game for Transformers that is focused on kids. It will have oversized cards and oversized booster packs. I'm going to probably do a video just to that once Wizard gives us some of the images. I got to see some of them, but we're not allowed to share any of that with you guys. And all I can really say is they have this plan. Oh, Ball Lightning and Knights of the Skywire. All I can say is they do have some cool plans in play for a Transformers-style trading card game, and it's going to be directed at kids. And I'm very, very excited to tell you all more about that when we see it. I actually am always in for a kids-based trading card game. I feel like we need a couple more to get those kids into these levels like Magic. But let's get back to talking about Magic. Some of the other stuff they talked about is expanding more programs to get new players into stores. Obviously, they already have Open House out there, and there was some stores saying they run stuff like Open House monthly, which I thought was a really cool idea, and I'm going to pitch to some of my local stores here. Spike Shot, Order of the Ordeal. Niv. Good old Niv. And a Regrowth. I'm okay with a foil Regrowth. No big hits yet in this box. And that's something that we could also talk about is hits in boxes. That's a concept in some of the other trading card games and sports cards and stuff. And that's where it comes to, like, if there is actually a mapping issue with this, yes, if you don't trust your retailer, that can cause issues. But otherwise, that might help you getting hits. I, again, don't want to speculate too much on all of that. That's not really what this video is about. I just want to see what juice I pull from the 725 and keep you guys up to date with what I was able to learn. Alright, Fiend Hunter, a Lightning Bolt, always love that. There we go, Prosh. So my first mythic is Prosh, Sky Raider of Care. I actually am okay with that. I needed a copy of Prosh myself, so let the kobolds begin. We got 3 more packs on this row. So some of the other stuff that I was able to learn from Wizards of the Coast while I was in their meeting that I thought I would share with you guys is that, like I said, they do have some programs, and they're really suggesting to retailers to try to get more programs to bring in new players, help new players out. They are really trying to get the atmosphere, like, you want to have different atmospheres for the store, and Eidolon of the Great Revel, I'm very excited with that, and we got a Zulaport Cutthroat foil, which I'm also okay with there. Zulaport Cutthroat is one of those that I actually was really glad they chose from that set. Some of the cards they chose from some of the sets I question, especially as we get toward these newer sets. Amonkhet, I really wish you'd have given us Sacred Cat. If I had to say, the common from Amonkhet is a disappointment because Sacred Cat was the best, most obvious option there, I think. But that's okay. I'm not here to criticize that too much. So let's talk about some of the other stuff I learned. Wizards of the Coast is, like I said, they have a lot of different product that are going to be coming out this year. I mentioned the Spell Series. We are going to see another Commander Anthology deck, which is going to have some classic Commander options in it that you might have missed in previous year's Commander decks. Okay, let's see. Heavy, Fierce. Okay, Coalition Relic and Foil Emberweaver. Not bad. We've got one last pack. See if we can't get a good hit out of it. All right. They're one of the topics that I want to cover that they had announced going into this, and it's something one of the stores were most concerned about, and there was a lot of time complaining about it, was this idea that the stores are responsible for background checking their judges, their employees, and their volunteers, and they even got to questions about, like, how much of a volunteer, like, at what point do I have to background check a volunteer if I'm in the store? If they're just coming in and helping for one day for open house, do I need to be background checking them? If I recruit them in for that day, do I? There were some questions like that. It's a real concern for stores who are now looking at having to throw down. Oh, Charm, I'm excited there. Luminarch Ascension and Haunted Fengraph foil. All right, we're gonna move on to the middle row here for those keeping track. So there's a lot of stores that are concerned about the cost that's going to put on them. And Wizards is trying to offer a cheaper way for it to go about it. Through the program over there, I believe they're getting $7 background checks that they can do on their judges and stuff. But it did bring up some really good questions, including one of the things that wasn't answered, and I would love to know, is can stores go in together on these background checks? Let's say you have multiple stores in the same area. Can each one of them background check one judge, even though most of them use the same judges? Like, if I background check Judge A and you background check Judge B, do I also have to background check Judge B, or is yours good enough? That's some of the questions that I personally would love to know, as well as I want to know some more about, why Wizards isn't willing to suck up that cost. Oh, here's the first big hit. Azusa, Lost But Sinking, and a foil Rest in Peace. I'm okay with both of those there. Azusa, another great, awesome choice for throwing into this set. So, I have some questions about that from the player's standpoint. I really think that they could be acting more like Pokemon Card Company, where as a professor with Pokemon Card Company, I was background checked, but Pokemon did that background. They didn't force that on any store, and they go through and check all their professors, and I kind of feel, at least when it comes to judges. Now, I understand employees. An employee of the store, that should probably be the store's responsibility to make sure that person should be working with kids. But judges? I think that's on you, Wizards. If I were really to give my 2 cents there, Pokemon covers it, and I really think you guys should be covering it as well, especially on judges. Oh, here's my next mythic, Armageddon. I'll take an Armageddon. I have Armageddons. I mean, it's a classic choice. Armageddon probably had to end up in the set. I don't know that we could have gone without it in the set, but it's also one that a bunch of us players who've been in for a long time have, and unless you're playing some of those older things, you're not going to want to see. So I understand why there is a little bit of complaints about Armageddon being in the set. But I think classic choice. You really couldn't have gone with a Masters 25 without Armageddon in the set. So, there was a lot of talk. Stores, especially some of those up in Canada and other provinces. In Canada, there's different rules on who you can background check, and they could get in trouble if they fire someone for the wrong reasons, and Wizards might be asking them to fire them for those reasons, and it's going to cost them more. Like, this is a real issue, and I really think Hasbro and Wizards needs to consider at least the judges. And you need to set some better ideas for what the volunteers that need background checked are. Darien, King of Kajal, and Squadron Hawk. So that was one of the big topics. All the retailers had just heard recently about this, and they wanted to nip that in the bud when they were there. I'm using that phrase a lot today. Let's see if I can move away from it. So they wanted to make sure it was addressed, and there was a lot of different concerns, including that, why is this on retailers? And that's the one thing I've got to say I agree with, is retailers probably should not be picking up the cost on judges, although I think that the cost on your employees to make sure they are good to work with kids is absolutely expected. That shouldn't be on the individual companies. If you're hiring that person, giving them a paycheck, then you should be expecting that. But if Wizards is passing them to be in the judge program, I think it is on you, Wizards of the Coast, in order to check those people, make sure they should be in your judge program. So that's all I'm going to say on that. It was a huge topic at GAMA, and I know it's a thing on a lot of our YouTubers' minds, so I wanted to just bring it up. Blooded Grove. Looks like I've got another piece for my merfolks. Quite excited about that one. It's not the most expensive card, but it's a hit in my mind. Alright, let's keep going here. If anybody in the comments below wants to ring up the expected value of uncommons and foils and rares in this, I would love to see it. I don't know if I'll have time to myself. I will say, just talking about some of the other things going on with Masters 25, most of the expected value videos I've seen, oh, another Zulaport Cutthroat there, Pernicious Deed, and Trumpet Blast. So most of the videos I see that do expected value aren't taking into account the randomizer chance with the foils and getting some of those foil pieces, and that's such a huge piece. I know that you're not always going to hit a good foil, but a good foil can throw the expected value of your box way up, and I think that it's one of the things miscounted for. I think there's a higher expected value to this box than most people are playing off, and that's because they're not looking at these different foil options. So I just want to go ahead and say that and get that out of the way as well. I've got 2 more packs left in this row, and let's see what all I can still cover that we saw in these meetings here. Wizards is, as I said, they're trying to do a lot more programs that are going to reach out and get you guys involved. They're one of the most interesting questions that and like it's kind of a joke question, but oh, okay, Laguntas and active treason. Somebody asked if so going into open house, you guys might have seen open house decks this year had the classic 17 stamp on them, kind of like we've had for the other M whatever. And so it was like your 17th edition was actually the open house decks. Well, now we're going to get a core set 19, okay? What if they gave us the 18 stamp on the next set of open house decks? That way we don't skip having an 18 set, if that makes sense. Because otherwise we're going to go from a 17 set with nothing having that like 18 in between, and I think it'd be kind of cool. And there was some other talk in the room. Someone had brought up the idea of maybe we can throw that 18 stamp onto those decks that'll be given out at an open houses when they change out, and that way we have that set accounted for. There was, let's get off of Magic for just about D&D. They had a D&D. D&D was blowing up, and it gives me a lot of faith doing more Dungeons and Dragons stuff on this channel. I'm going to be covering some of the stuff I learned about D&D as well as some of the stuff I learned about Pathfinder 2.0 was there. So it is Wizards of the Coast as far as D&D at least, and it's been a great year. They've been doing some cool stuff, and they're going to go other I'm not off the top of my head that's coming out soon, but it was looking really cool. I will be talking about it more. I just don't have my notes for D&D in front of me. That is the end of that pack. A little bit of Conflux action. Full. Let's see if we can't hit one of those good foil chases. Foil Azuma would be good. Still like to see. So the other things, Wizards, they're into their retailers. They didn't want to tell anybody too much about. Oh, here we go. Imperial Recruiter. I am Imperial. So there wasn't a lot of the upcoming promos are. We don't know a bunch of those things, but I'm gonna scoot this whole stack to the side, common pile. A little bit of a sneak peek at like one thing that I know more about before I can, as soon as they do anything. And Nico Bolas, I love that new art for that Nico Bolas there, making it very class. Are familiar with the old Nico? Kind of look like Puff the Magic Dragon's grandpa or something. So, things that I would love to know that they didn't have. I would love to change up, for instance, packs. We've had the Rebecca Gaylands for a while. That I brought with them is that there may be something else. I would Rebecca Gay to only been Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation to have someone else for Ixalan. And we, of course, weren't. It was some of the different